Lansdowne Primary School is an inner city school in Cardiff. We have approximately 330 children ranging from nursery through to year 6. Currently, 50% of our pupils speak English as additional language, 40% of our pupils currently receive targeted learning support, and 30% of our pupils receive planned targeted wellbeing support.
So when I think about what's our curriculum design process, it is starting with learners, working out learning need based on that, working out how to engage them best, and then making decisions on content and approach to try and achieve those aims that we've defined. And we've always gone back to that question of, what do we know about Lansdowne learners? What do we know about that particular cohort? What have their experiences been? What experiences will they not have? What things are they interested in? And what things might we need to build a bit of interest in order to meet that learning need?
It's been really important for us to make sure it's not just, you're not your own island. It's not year 4's curriculum, year 5's curriculum, because we kind of had that before, and the problem we were getting was people were recycling, redoing the same things, and we weren't having that collaboration, and it just led to chaos.
I think one of the really important things about our curriculum and the needs of our children is that we really work hard to make sure that our curriculum reflects the children in our school. We've got a very diverse mix of children, and I think that's one of the starting points for us really in terms of identifying need for our children and our curriculum, because it's really important that the children see themselves. It certainly helps them to become invested in their learning. There's a brilliant author that I always quote at this point, Tola Kogu, who wrote the Onyeka books, and she wrote in her acknowledgements that she wanted the book to be a mirror and a window. So a mirror for children to see themselves, but then a window for other children to look through, and then hopefully kind of develop empathy. And I think that's what we try and live by when we're designing the curriculum, so that the children feel represented. They feel that their history, that their lives are important and matter because they're part of the curriculum, it's part of what we're learning, but also children that don't have those experiences can develop that empathy and understand a little bit better. In year 6, their context in the spring term is all to do with the body and mental health. We looked at a lot of geometric art that are in other cultures. We looked at Islamic geometry, we looked at mandalas. We started again in Wales, so we looked at Celtic knots and things like that, and we showed them how we can use geometry and math skills to create art, and how that is good for well-being and your mental health.
So with the mandalas, it's really important to respect other cultures, and it was quite difficult to do, but when you got it, it was quite fun to do.
A little bit complicated, but really fun at the end.
Because every conversation we have begins with that conversation of what do your learners need? Where are we at? In terms of when we think about our aim for curriculum and our aim for these children within this context, we're breaking that down into, well, if we want them to understand that big concept, we're going to need to teach them this knowledge. So we then are using that understanding to really plan and build our progression, to really think about the content of our contexts, the structure of our lessons, the way that our learning journey is planning and developing is all based on that understanding of this is where I'm trying to get my children to.
Many years ago, you wouldn't have seen a huge difference between a curriculum between many different schools in Cardiff, but our area is very different. We want every child here to feel represented. So we looked at Tiger Bay, how it was an incredibly diverse area, and children were learning all about how different cultures came to Tiger Bay and why they came to that area of Cardiff. And we then looked at making our own little food festival, because we said that, you know, all these cultures come together, they bring their foods and they dine together, and they loved it. They'd stand by that it was their favourite day of the year.
I liked learning about Tiger Bay. It was really fun, and I liked learning about where we live, and all the cultures used to go there, and there was loads of restaurants, and Betty Campbell was also the first black head teacher in Wales, and I think that's very inspirational as well.
Does it make you feel like connected to like the cultures?
Yeah, because our Lansdowne is basically like our own mini Tiger Bay.
It's about constantly trying to support staff in breaking down what understanding actually is, because that's a really big concept. And as a teacher, we've never really been asked to do that before until Curriculum for Wales set up this expectation. So we're constantly trying to break that down into, well, what do I need to know in order to really understand that process? What do I need to be able to do to demonstrate that understanding? Checking in, is that knowledge building? Are they able to apply it to a context? Are they able to explain it to someone else? Every week, our teachers sit down together and they talk about their context, they talk about their planning for the week, they talk about their children's learning and about what they're going to do in order to build progression. So the aim of today's session is continuing our work on planning for progression. And that sounds so simple, but it's not. Actually, that's a continuous process and that we're constantly going back to and constantly questioning and asking that question of, do I think this plan is going to achieve that big aim? And that big aim being the intention it defines, but also, our vision for our curriculum, the vision for the Welsh curriculum. And so it's about trying to support teachers in breaking down that big understanding, really thinking about that as learning in terms of what will I need to be able to do? What will a child need to be able to see, to experience, to practice, to try out, to understand in order to achieve that big, ambitious, lofty aim? That when we're planning, that we are planning learning, that we're really planning for understanding, that we're really thinking about how does that understanding break down? What does it actually mean and look like for a child going from not grasping that concept to actually being able to use it, apply it, transfer and understand it? What is that journey? And how do I plan for that journey? I think staff are really enjoying the process. It's brought about some energy again and some real creativity. I've had conversations where we've gone, they weren't ready, or I didn't really understand that well enough. Those conversations, I think, have really brought about staff's sense of ownership of the curriculum, because they are understanding things, that they really are in charge of the decisions they're making, and that those decisions are based on their learners and their learners' needs.